What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Culinary Cinema. This is the segment on my channel where I review movies that are centered around food or the food scene, and using my knowledge from my original college degree, studying the culinary world and working in restaurants and kitchens, and reviewing the movie, but also talking about kind of the technical side of how the food is presented or themes related to the industry. And I'm going to talk about a movie today that I've seen a few times since its initial release, and one that I really respected when it first came out, because I feel like not only is it a movie filled with incredible performances, amazing cinematography, great production design, and it's incredibly thrilling and funny, and it has a lot of things that really make a fantastic movie watching experience as a whole. But I also think the way it picks apart elements of the food service industry when it comes to fine dining versus like fast casual, when it comes to foodies, food reviewers, investors in restaurants. It tackles all of these subjects in a way that I feel like is incredibly poignant. And I thought that this would be a really fun one to talk about the food side of things, but also just discuss the industry side of things as well, because I think all of that is incredibly fascinating and it's just a really well put together movie. And the film I'm going to be telling you about today is The Menu. The Menu is directed by Mark Mylod. A young couple travels to a remote island to eat in an exclusive restaurant where the chef has prepared a lavish menu with some shocking surprises. So, like I said, I absolutely love this movie. And I loved it when I first saw it, and in the times that I've revisited it, I've really enjoyed it. And I was really excited to pick this movie to do for this segment in particular because of the subject matter of the movie. And I think that there's a lot of really unique and interesting ideas around the food service industry as a whole. And I'm really excited to tell you about it today. So, at the beginning of the movie, we are introduced to Margot, played by Anya Taylor-Joy, and her boyfriend Tyler, played by Nicholas Hoult. And they're about to get on this boat to travel to this incredibly exclusive restaurant that essentially only serves 12 people a night. And Tyler is very excited about going there. He's like an obsessive online foodie who kind of studies all of the different techniques that these chefs use. And he has been following this chef for a long time. And we see Margot doesn't really care about it. She thinks it's kind of ridiculous that people pay all of this money to go travel to this place to eat this fancy food that essentially like isn't even going to fill you up by the time you're done eating it. And so the two of them get ready to get on board this boat to travel to this small island, and we're introduced to this wide variety of characters. We have this wealthy husband and wife couple, we have a food critic and someone who works for the magazine that she publishes through, we have these three guys who work with this investor that are all taking like a trip together just to eat, we have a washed up actor played by John Leguizamo and his assistant, and all of them are traveling for the same reason, to go try to enjoy this food. And so when they arrive on the island, we are introduced to Chef Slowick, played by Ralph Fiennes, and he introduces the first meal, and everything is seemingly normal. His chefs listen to him, they put the food out, everyone's all excited because of the presentation and the way that the food looks. But as the night progresses, things get weirder and weirder, and elements of these specific dishes reveal information about people there that are eating. And as things get revealed, the stakes get higher and higher. And the entirety of the film is us trying to figure out, what is the chef trying to accomplish here, and does he have sinister intentions? So, like I said, I love this movie, and I'm going to get the base level stuff about reviewing the movie out of the way first. This is a performance driven movie, and the reason why this is so great is, number one, Anya Taylor-Joy is phenomenal in everything that she's in. She's captivating. She's enchanting is probably the best word for it. It doesn't matter what she's in. I feel like she does such an amazing job at commanding the screen. And I love this sort of mystery behind her character early on and how things are revealed. And I think the way she kind of plays with the scenery and just how she reacts to certain people through dialogue is really what makes her such a compelling actress. And I love her performance in this. And I think her chemistry with Ralph Fiennes is really what makes this movie work so well. Ralph Fiennes is the other like showstopper in this. He is a phenomenal actor who has done a ton of great work throughout his career, and he is incredible in this. This might be one of my favorite performances that he's given. I feel like he's so stoic and in the zone when it comes to what he is trying to accomplish, and I love the way that he just kind of like lets the crack show in little ways throughout to kind of learn more about who he is as a person. And I think if those two didn't work as well, this movie wouldn't work. And there's so many great actors in this. I think John John Leguizamo does a really great job in his role. I love kind of like this washed up actor who can't get anything going, and then like the reveal as to why his character is there is absolutely hilarious. I also really like Nicholas Hoult as this kind of like groveling, miserable, annoying foodie that is just completely disregarding the rules of the event. He's obsessive in a way that's really obnoxious, and I think that parallels to foodie culture really well. And there's an entire like star-studded cast of actors and actresses in this that I all think do a really great job. Cinematography and presentation in this is gorgeous. I'm going to talk about it when I discuss the food, but the way that they kind of show the like cards with like the course on them and different like explanation of the meals and just the way that it's framed, very similar to a lot of like popular cooking shows and the way that they present the food. And you can tell whoever worked with the creators of this film, they really wanted to pay attention to the presentation of the food to make sure that it was authentic as possible. And there are like some very stunning shots in this movie. I love the way that the editing works in this. I feel like it's such an immersive film, and it also creates this sense of claustrophobia really early on because you're in this restaurant and there's no way to get away. Like you can get out onto the island, but you can't just find a boat and run away if something goes wrong. And I loved that about this movie. I think utilizing the cinematography and the editing to kind of create this sense of claustrophobia, but to give you enough sense of space where it's like immersive. It's what makes the film work so well. And I also really love the score to the movie, and I think that that is also another really great element that keeps you engaged and immersed throughout the entire runtime. But the things about the food side of it that I love. So this is obviously looking at fine dining. So there's a lot of very specific methods that are even referenced throughout the movie that like unless you're working in fine dining, these types of things aren't really used. Like one of my favorite scenes is they're known for their bread, and so they essentially give out a appetizer dish of like no bread where it's like elements of the bread that they serve in liquid form. And it seems absurd to like the average watcher who knows nothing about food. They'd be like, wow, that's kind of stupid. But this is true to fine dining establishment, deconstructing popular dishes in ways that no one would expect is something that a pretentious highbrow chef would try to accomplish. And I think like referencing a lot of those details is what makes the movie work really well. And I also love whenever they're cutting to the kitchen and you're seeing the very intricate ways that the dishes are being prepared, whether that's like shaving little bits off, the placement of flowers on a plate. Plating and presentation is so important in fine dining, and I think that the way that they frame all of those specific elements in this works really well. And I'm not going to get into talking about like individual styles of how the food is presented, but I think it works really well. And it's always interesting to me whenever you think about fine dining. Like there's a dish they serve with a scallop, and it's literally like a single scallop, but they create this entire like landscape for it with like a rock. And the presentation in this is remarkable, and I love that about this movie. And I think paying attention to the detail and how the food is presented is what makes the movie work so well. If there wasn't the attention to detail on that side of things, I don't think this movie would come across in the same way. I also love how like regimented and almost militaristic the kitchen is. That's very true to a lot of fine dining establishments. Media has tackled that for a while now. When you think of like most recently a TV show like The Bear, whenever you get flashbacks to Jeremy Allen White's character and what he experienced in the fine dining world, it is a very cutthroat industry, and it's not an easy industry to get into, and it's something that you have to perfect day in and day out. It's not the same as just any old restaurant. Like you're trying to work your way up to the most upper levels of the culinary world. And so I think approaching that, even to the point where it shows them like sleeping in a barracks together, literally like they're in the military, I think all of those, like it's a way to inflate it that really gives it a nice touch. So because whenever you exaggerate something to that level, it gives people an idea of how it works in real life, not necessarily in the most ridiculous way, but I appreciate that. I also love Ralph Fiennes' character in this because his character is obviously incredibly flawed. There's things exposed about him throughout, but this whole idea of like an artist falling out of love with their art, especially when it comes to the customer service industry, working for people. So many people that get involved in culinary world, myself included, did it because we wanted to help people, but people are incredibly exhausting and they're demanding and they're awful and rude when it comes to that industry. And that's not every case, but it drives a lot of people to begin hating what they do for work. And so I think like when we're learning throughout the movie what's going on in Ray Fiennes' character's head, it makes it really easy to understand because of all the little intricacies that they reveal throughout. And then like giving you the most annoying array of customers imaginable. And I think like incorporating foodies who like think they know everything about the craft, but then when put in the situation, could not make a meal of their own, or critics who develop their entire lifestyle critiquing food when in the same vein as a foodie, they probably couldn't go make it themselves. They're just good with words and they're respected if they've done it for a long enough time. And I think kind of showcasing those different relationships with the chef kind of paints the picture of the toxicity of the food world, because running a restaurant is hard, not just like getting funding from someone who's going to give you the money to be able to make your vision achievable, but then once you get it off the ground, if you're not making money in the way that they want, limiting the availability of ingredients, how you structure a menu, all of these different things, they're a very real truth of the restaurant industry. And I think like all of the different characters incorporated throughout the movie do a really great job representing each and every facet of the industry. And then obviously there's the iconic cheeseburger scene towards the end of the movie. And I think that really paints a picture of food that is something that I can really respect, because I think like there are people in this world who are incredibly pretentious and highbrow about their food, and there's people who just truly don't give a crap about what they eat as long as it tastes good. And then there's people who kind of meet in the middle that can like go to a fine dining establishment, but also can go through a Taco Bell drive-through and enjoy it. And I think what the movie does a really great job of is with a chef who loves cooking, they can cook something as simple as a cheeseburger or craft you the most incredible filet mignon that you've ever experienced. And if their love is in it and their heart is in it, they're going to put the same level of effort and time and energy into both. And I think that's the beauty of food. Food really is an art form, especially like for people like it showcased in this, that do it as a way to like dishes are presented to you almost like a canvas. And I loved that about this movie. I think that's such a fascinating approach to thinking about food, and it exists in all facets, right? Food is a comfort for us. Like we eat because we have to survive. But so many of us eat the foods we love because they provide some level of comfort. And I think it's interesting that the director chooses to showcase like both sides of the industry, like obviously through the variety and different styles of food that people choose to enjoy, and then falling out of love with your craft and cooking something as simple as a cheeseburger to find it again. And the movie has kind of a jaded, sort of bitter perspective towards the third act, which I can understand because as someone who did that for like 12 plus years of my life, it's a miserable experience. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's not fun. It's not easy. It's not a world. You do not get into that industry if you have a weak constitution. If you cannot handle pressure on a day-to-day basis, you just simply won't survive. And I think that's what the movie does a really great job painting a picture of. And it's something that I always get excited to revisit because of all of these different themes that I'm discussing with you. And I think that if you're looking for like a thrilling, funny, entertaining and engaging movie that also covers a lot of really interesting subject matter surrounding the food service industry, you should 100% watch The Menu. So if you've seen The Menu, did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. I think this movie is incredible, and I thought it was a perfect addition into my culinary cinema segment. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.